Welcome back. Love Boat Project Season 1, Episode 16. Welcome back. With me, as always, is my co-host, Mike Robertson. Ahoy, Mike.
Hey, Mike. It's feels like we're just taking a sprint after last week's two-parter, like a 1 hour episode.
Yeah, I watched this episode and I was like, that's it? Well, that was a quick one.
It's not
Where's
a
the
convoluted
rest?
fourth storyline. What?
Yeah, not a weird one that just sort of drags on. Just to
Yeah.
With us this week, very special guest, our very good friend, Mr. Amin Brewster. Ahoy, Amin. Welcome aboard.
Ahoy, mate.
Ahoy, mate. Let me ask you something. We are around the same age. And let me ask you, Amin, we always ask people one question if they've been on a cruise. But the other question, you have been on a cruise?
5, yes.
Oh, you've been on 5?
5 cruises?
Whoa, hold on. Forget my... Okay.
One cruise that I was on in 2005, Hurricane Katrina was behind us. So we had to skip our last destination stop so that we could get back to Florida before the hurricane.
Wow. So
we had to fly out of Miami instead of Key West because, as y'all know, the hurricane went west and then came into the Gulf. They thought it was going to come straight up the East Coast, but then it went into the Gulf, and that's how it hit Louisiana. But the initial thought was it was going to hit Florida, so we had to get there first and then fly out.
They should have almost hit Florida and been like, it's really okay. It's Louisiana's problem. We're turning this thing around.
We had to skip our last stop.
No kidding. Did they still do food and everything, or was it like a panic mode thing?
It was panic mode, but we just stayed on the water. We didn't get back off the boat. So they still
had to be a lot of heavy food, though, right? It couldn't be like that flyaway food. Like it had to be real ground plate food.
A lot of poultry.
The part of the water we were on was still good because we had Central America blocking us from the actual hurricane.
Gotcha.
So the part of what we was on was still good, but we couldn't stop, or then it would have caught up to us.
Never stop. Like it's like Speed 2.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
How long do you think before they have some sort of hurricane? Well, I guess you could have a hurricane in the West Coast, right? Is that gonna be like a tsunami? There's gonna be some weather.
It's typhoon, I think, is in the
They have a lot of those over there, but the water usually goes towards Asia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, because that's what I was thinking. What's the difference between a cyclone and a typhoon?
Well, cyclone's wind, isn't it?
I don't know.
Isn't a cyclone wind
thing? I thought it was like a tornado-y sort of thing, but why wouldn't they call that?
I think the other thing we have to remember, right? And the other thing is too, they're not going to be like really scientific about it. Whenever they get to the episode that the typhoon is threatening the Love Boat.
Well, let's keep in mind too, right? I wonder they have to have an episode where like the seas get rough, right? And they're screaming out. They're kind of giving up info they shouldn't give and thinking they're going to die.
10 minutes from Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, give me that.
Oh, maybe Gilligan's Island will be on there.
Oh,
what a twist! What if it was all the same universe? Fantasy Island, Gilligan's Island, Love Boat,
Buck Rogers, that cool hawk guy. It'd be awesome. So we are here to talk about episode 16. Original air date of this episode is January 27th, 1978. The episode is titled "The Congressman Was Indiscreet," Isaac's History Lesson, Winner Take Love.
What the hell was that one title? Give me a break. The Congressman was indiscreet.
He used a fake name when he chimed in. When he checked in.
That's what he was indiscreet about. Jim Smith or John Smith? Like, come on, dude.
His name was awful, but
how about you keep your face to yourself in the dining room, bro? Like, what do you think you're going to be not going to be in the pic? Like,
Two people recognize this guy, including Julie, who's never given any evidence that she's like up on current events. This guy is everywhere, and he's like Jim Smith. No Secret Service, no mask or anything. You know.
Be like back in the day if like Gary Hart showed up on a cruise in like 1985. Like,
and he's in the midst of a scandal, and the first thing you do when you sit down is holler at a girl.
Right? When you get a drink, that took 4 seconds.
Yeah, I'm starting to think the stories might be true. Just saying.
Yeah.
So that's we have original air date January 27th, 1978. What's on? We kind of have an eventful thing happening tonight. I'm going to be honest with you. On CBS at 9:00, The Jeffersons, 9:30 Maude. Okay, so
Ooh.
that's their 9 to 10. That's not the big one. NBC movie, not the big one. Movie's called Doc Savage, Man of Bronze. We got to see this with Ron Ely, Paul Gleason, William Lucking, and Eldon Quick.
Wow, never heard of any of those people. So-
It says Doc and the Amazing Five battle Captain Seize and the Green Death for
This is a
control of
superhero show?
maybe.
I think it's trying to be. It'd be weird
Maybe.
if it wasn't a superhero movie.
Yeah, they're fighting for the control of a resource. Like it's I mean,
Like Captain Planet?
He's our hero.
I need to see more. I got a
Gonna
Doc
take
Savage,
pollution
Man of
down to
Bronze.
zero.
I gotta. Well, the big news is on ABC following this episode of The Love Boat was the very, very first episode of Fantasy Island,
Oh,
which was a
speaking of the
huge
devil.
1-2 punch in the future.
So they moved up. So this was a 9:00 Love Boat.
Yes.
Interesting.
So now you move to 9. You've got Fantasy Island at 10. I'm interested to see what works out right before it, just to see what the lead in is.
The 8:00 show.
Yeah, because that's a
That's
solid
primetime
2 hours of TV. What's up?
Primetime starts at 8.
Yeah,
Right.
so there's got to be something there. I want to take a look at that next time and see.
Well, I feel like
So-
I wonder if they knew because like this episode had a lot going on, obviously, including a pretty, blatant fashion show beauty contest.
Right.
So I wonder if that was like,
Maybe
let's get
there's
those 9
crossover.
p.m. viewers in there.
And the fun fact about that, the character Stephanie, didn't she play on the Jeffersons?
Yeah, she's been in so many different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was on Good Times. She's been in.
We'll get to it, I'm sure, but what I knew her from is she's Will Smith's mom
That's right.
And the world
in Fresh Prince.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
She's the original.
Yes.
There's
no,
two.
you're thinking of Aunt Viv.
Aunt
This
Viv
is actually
and
Will
Viv.
Smith's mom.
Okay. I was
Who
thinking-
said you're going to
She
live with
sent
your
him.
aunt Uncle
Yeah.
Bel Air. Yeah, so
well, West
Which
Philly.
auntie and uncle to Bel Air?
That's right.
Yep.
So that's interesting. There was a question a couple weeks ago, Mike. We talked about the sort of synopsis. So moving forward, what I'm doing is I'm pulling this synopsis from the TV Guide listing.
Okay.
So whatever they put out there is what I'm going to use from now on.
and then we'll just judge if it's good or not because I think we have
Right.
seen inconsistent.
Well,
is-
IMDb will have one, and then another place will have a different one, and then it's
Yeah.
like there's a little editorial take in it. It's a little weird. So it says a beauty contestant on board ship divides a young couple. A proud
Nope.
black woman is offended by the Uncle Tom foolery of another passenger. And then,
Yes.
what's that?
I'm just saying the first one was wrong. The second
First
one
one's wrong.
probably.
Yeah.
Go on.
A muckraking
Yeah.
muckraking reporter falls for a disgraced congressman. Number one, what is muckraking?
Muckraker is like an old newspaper term. It's like from the
Paparazzi-ish type
1900s. Yeah, it's like somebody who's digs in the dirt to get the scoop and like that kind of thing.
Okay.
I want to
You don't-
say it
you
has something to do with Teddy Roosevelt, but don't quote me on that.
You don't agree with the first part of that?
Which
Yeah,
one?
well,
The
read
beauty
it again.
contest.
Read the first one again.
A beauty contest on board ship divides a
Oh.
young couple.
I thought you
That's
said beauty contestant. Okay,
I might have.
I
might have.
withdraw my. I thought they were
Well,
saying
it
something.
was a
out in the middle.
contestant that tried to divide them, Rita.
I got a lot to say about one
Team
half of
Rita.
that couple.
I am team Rita.
Oh, I also am Team Rita.
Oh,
yes,
huge
I
Team
agree.
Rita.
No,
Rita's- Rita. I got a tattoo.
I got a lot to say
Team Rita.
about the absolute villain of this episode, who we will get to as we talk about that.
Fair enough. All right, so let's go. I got to tell you. So, I mean, last episode was the long episode, and it was also the first episode with like the portholes, where you would see the guest, guest starring, boom, whoever it was, and their face would pop up in the thing.
Mhm.
So I got to tell you, it's rough going back to not having a porthole
Yeah.
once you've had the portholes, because
Yep.
now we're back to just regular. And I'm like, out of all the people on this episode, I thought it was sort of shameful.
Not to have it.
How's Scatman not gonna? He wasn't even listed as like the guest stars.
Yeah, he was. He was the
was.
first credit.
Later on, was he?
No,
was.
he was the very first credit. That's probably why you missed him, because he
Oh,
was
I probably
right away.
did miss it. Yeah. Okay.
Your eyes were probably settling from not having the portholes.
I was daydreaming about portholes. I
Mhm.
missed it.
Yep.
Actually, let's talk
Just
about
keep
him.
saying portholes. It's not going to be weird.
No,
Right.
not going to be weird at all.
We'll
Portholes.
see you in season 2, portholes.
Miss portholes. Since he came up, so Scatman Crothers, I knew him as the voice of Hong Kong Phooey. I was a big Hong Kong Phooey fan, and it was wild to know that was like when I was a kid, it blew my mind. The Shining, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I mean, he was been in everything and voices for everything. He's just what a great voice.
Yeah, I knew
just-
nothing about him before watching this episode.
Oh,
But
he's
now
just.
I know a lot about him.
I love his voice. Talk about Vicki Lawrence for a second. Well, she first of all, she was on the Carol Burnett show from 1967 to 78.
Did she have
Which
any
I think-
characters that she tried to maybe parlay into something bigger on the Carol Burnett show?
Funny you should say that. From 1983 to 1990, she was Mama on Mama's Family, 130 episodes.
1990?
Yeah,
Oh my
Wow.
god.
that was just syndicate. It was just on like CMT or something. Some awful.
Saying all these 19s on everything is making me feel old.
It does, yeah. I was thinking that the other day.
This-
We don't see anything in the 20s.
This might have
Sorry.
been the first, like the longest I've seen Vicki Lawrence in something that was not
like
Mom's Family. Like I you know what, she used to have her own daytime talk show, so I guess I saw that. But like,
Never seen it.
yeah,
Boo.
What was it called?
Boo. Vicki Lawrence.
or the
Vicky,
Vicki Lawrence
some
show.
dumb-
It wasn't
yeah.
called Mama's Talk Show, which it should have been called. So.
For the
I
occasion,
thought-
like drinking Stella Jerry.
Oh, nice. I'm going with a little ginger ale in my Love Boat Project coffee mug.
I'm drinking whatever Isaac poured Stephanie randomly at the bar when she was trying to study, and he never said what it was. He just put alcohol in her cup and she drank
Yeah,
it. So,
alcohol. Smell this
Yeah.
rag, Stephanie. Yeah, we know what's up. I will say with the Vicki Lawrence, I thought this was a criminal act that she was completely miscast. Like maybe I shouldn't start it now. I don't.
Give it to
I
her.
thought
I
she
was-
was. I thought
I was
she was
gonna go
better
to the
than
store.
I expected.
I was
Honestly,
going to go to the store and get a wig today, right? And the wig I was going to get was Man, and I was going to put it on and be like, "Look, I put on." I just don't see.
what
like
you
that
don't see
congressman-
sexy Dick Van
You know,
Patten falling for
yeah.
Vicki Lawrence. Come on.
Just there was like ugh.
Well,
She just was like.
I know we're jumping all over, but I feel like we've established already, like Amin said, that congressman was ready to go
Oh, he was ready.
for
He was ready.
anybody.
Yeah.
You kidding over kissing people on the face like you don't even know somebody? Like
Yeah.
what the,
Mhm.
so
The
what,
cruise was 3 days.
And they was in
Uh,
love on the second day.
he's a freaking weirdo. Let's talk about Vernee Watson, Stephanie Hayden. Just want to say we'll see her 3 more times on the Love
Oh.
Boat.
Really?
Well,
Good.
lots
'Cause
of
she
TV
was really
appearances.
good, I thought. In this.
She was good. Interesting. She did a lot of cartoon voiceover work, superhero TV show, like tons of cartoon work.
Mm-hmm.
Great voice.
She's on my soap
Um,
operas.
Is she
Yes.
Young and
She's
the
in
Restless.
everything.
still active?
No, back
No.
in the 90s.
Is she still alive? Vernee Watson?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
she?
Yeah, I
Okay.
believe so. Yeah. She had she was in the new
Oh.
Bel Air.
She is. You know what? I saw a
Yeah.
couple episodes of New Bel Air.
Yeah.
I had to see it. I had to see what was up. It's interesting.
Yes. it is.
Maureen McCormick's back because we were clamoring from a return for Maureen McCormick, and you notice she has completely chopped her hair. Like she's going for like a whole.
So I do want to talk about that because this is now our second episode of a
We're going to see
repeat
her 3
guest.
more times.
Well, but I think we're in it now, right?
Yeah,
Like
What
we're
character
are
is she?
we're still
What character is she?
she was the one who eventually won.
Jeanette.
With Rick. She was one with
Not
Rick.
no, sorry. Not dumb Jeanette, the one with the boyfriend.
The one who got caught with
Susan.
the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last week when we had Michelle Lee on for the second time, they made her character very, very different. And now this character for Marsha was very different than the last one. I mean, you can always tell it's Marsha Brady, right? But it's like at least
Well,
they
yeah.
tried to make her look different. And so I wonder if you are watching this over the course of, life, and you don't really think about, like, you're not watching it like we watch it now, right? But it's like maybe it's not as obvious that you're going back to the well. It is weird though.
So she was on the show 2 different times as 2 different people?
Yeah. In the same scene.
Already. She was in episode 6.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's back in episode 16.
It's not even like episode 2 and episode 20 or something like that. There's not a huge spread there.
So, and I can't believe they just can't find other people. So I guess that's just going to be a thing.
Before or after this?
Before.
This is her trying to
be like,
get out
of
Brady.
I don't even look like Marsha anymore.
Not gonna work.
Yeah.
This doesn't at all look like Marsha, who just cut her hair off. No, you're right. You're right.
Well, she didn't even look like the girl who hooked up with what's his name in the previous episode. So that's what I'm saying. If you're going to do it, at least make them look different and act different.
Right.
Give me a chance to have disbelief.
I still stand by that. I don't think that they hooked up in that episode. Just for the record.
I'm not getting into this. I will say for you, dear viewer, the Love Boat Project does not have repeat guests in a season. That is my vow to you until we run out of guests, and then we have to go back. The intention is that we do not have multiple guests.
We will not
How many
have
episodes a season?
24 looks like.
Hey, y'all in the home stretch of the first season.
16.
We'll get through. We'll get through, especially now that I made that announcement. Now, season 3, when the same 4 people are on 20 times, like that's different.
We only said season 1. That's it.
Right. Exactly.
Who else do we have on this? Dick Van Patten, 8 is enough. We will see him 2 more times for the end of this project. There's a lot of repeat.
That actually surprises me. It's not more for a guy like Dick Van Patten.
8 is enough was huge. Well, think so. That's Dick Van Patten. We'll see again. Vernee Watson will see 3 more times, and Maureen McCormick will see 3 more times. But there's one more person I want to mention here, and that's Bobby Sherman. Okay, I just wanted to see who he was. I read one sentence, and that was all I needed to read. And I moved on.
Closed the internet.
It was such a good sentence. Bobby Sherman is an American retired paramedic, police officer, singer, actor, and occasional songwriter who became a teen idol in the late 60s and early 70s. I think that wraps it up right there. Like, I was like, what else can I add to that?
That's a good bio.
Right? I thought it was cool. He's a retired paramedic, police officer.
And teen idol, retired teen idol, I guess.
Teen idol.
Bobby Sherman was one of those names that I assumed. Like, I knew the name, and then I looked it up to see. Oh, here's why I know him, and then I didn't know him at all. I was like, so I don't know why I know that name.
It's that like that.
I think it felt like it
was almost like song name or whatever.
It was almost like Shecky Green. Remember how we were like, we knew the name reference, but we didn't know who he was. I think that was the same thing. So
I'm going to keep asking these. What character was he?
He was
Rick. Yeah, Susie's man.
Rick, Marsha's boyfriend.
Yeah, I didn't like him.
His hair was he definitely had like teen idol hair.
Got a lot on Rick. Got a lot on Rick.
Yeah, Rick was not my favorite guy.
No. I want to mention one final person real quick. We mentioned Rita. I'm ride or die Rita. I'm team Rita. Heart of Rita Alvarez, played by, Maria O'Brien. Of course. I just meant like, wait,
That's range. That's range, baby.
No kidding. Anything to bring up before we hop on the boat and get started? Mike, anything?
So I just want to give a shout out to let me get his real name, Graham Jarvis, who played Waldo
Waldo.
And Waldo, and I refer to him in my notes as this the whole time. I know him from Mr. Mom because he is the Schooner Tuna guy at the end who
The
does
Arnold
this. Speech.
Schwarzenegger movie?
No, what are you thinking of? What's
Michael Keaton.
Junior? What are you thinking of, Junior or kindergarten?
Kindergarten Cop.
No,
Kindergarten Cop was good.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was pregnant.
Yeah, Junior.
Junior, okay.
No, this is Michael Keaton as a house mom.
Mr. Mom. Yeah.
Got you.
Sounds like you haven't
Never
seen
seen
that.
Mr. Mom.
I think I'm going to
never
keep a
seen it.
track of all the references you did not get in this.
Mr. Mom is one of them.
We will watch and we'll just do a podcast about that.
Well, now we got to watch Mr. Mom.
I just watched
Mr.
I
Mom
leave
a
these
month ago.
episodes with like a list of things to watch. What's that?
You would actually really like it.
What?
It's quick. It's funny. You actually would enjoy it. Anyway, this isn't a Mr. Mom podcast, but Jarvis, whatever his name was,
Graham Jarvis.
Graham
Waldo
Jarvis was him. So that's all
Interesting. Also, the name Waldo, I think, is just terrible again. I just think that's just a curse. You name your child Waldo. Come on. What are you doing, man?
Well,
Anyway.
I will say this. I think, off the top of my head, right? They have not repeated a person's name yet.
Which that's a good one.
And so you're going to get stretched a little bit, but I don't think they have, which is kind of amazing.
That's
not
what
that I
you
can
see
think
with
of.
Waldo's
Yes,
of
but
the
not
world and
Right.
Robin, like things like that. Yeah, makes sense. All right, this is a wild one. Let's get on the boat. All right. Automatically, so the episode starts. You hear Captain Steubing on the overhead.
Yeah.
I'm immediately pissed off, or I'm a little irritated because, again, two things. Number one, you're making an announcement about a beauty pageant where you're bringing people are trying to get on the boat. Like, what a way to make it about yourself there, Meryl. Like, what are you doing?
Hold on now. This I was going to ask you because I figured you hated it. So this is the first time we've seen that used as like a narrator for the show's plot,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But this beauty pageant ambassador, whatever they're calling it, really ended up being like an infomercial for the boat because all the stuff they wear, they're selling in the shops and everything. So I at least understand why they were kind of pumping it as people were getting on the boat. It would be like, and don't forget later, there's a dog show in the lobby or something like that. It's the same thing.
I just thought it was a bit much. Like, as soon as you get on, and you know what, Captain Steubing just gets under my skin. So I'm already like going in a little irritated.
It seemed real natural to me.
Well,
when you get on the boat,
they portrayed him in an interesting way this episode.
PA announcers talking.
There you go.
Well,
see, here's the thing. Amin's been on the cruises. Maybe that's a normal thing, Mike, and we just don't know.
It's very normal. You see
Is
that
it?
PA announcers.
Oh, well, maybe it's normal then. I don't know. I've never been on a cruise, so I don't know how. Like,
and you hate Steubing, to be fair.
Yeah,
you really do hate Steubing.
So he's walking on. He's making the announcement about this beauty pageant. Contestants arrive along with their minder/handler. I don't know what you would call them.
Attaché.
What is it when you go with someone or on the dating game and then someone would go with them? Who's your
chaperone?
Chaperone. I think he's like the chaperone.
Yeah, he was definitely the chaperone.
Interesting. Waldo introduces himself to Captain Steubing as head of office. Did you hear that? Hi, I'm Waldo, head of office. I'm like, what?
Which office?
What are you talking about? Yeah. Maybe he meant, I don't know.
Keep it real vague, Waldo.
Real vague, like with no details to Waldo.
Waldo was an interesting character too.
Oh yeah. We knew what was. Yeah, he was. Whew. He's introducing them all. Rita, who again, Team Rita, Ride or Die Rita. She should have won the whole thing. It was ridiculous. It was rigged.
I have noticed that Rita is a.
She's willing to do what it takes to win the competition. I respect that. You know.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's who I want on my side.
Yeah, Susie, she broke the rules. You know what I mean?
Well, you know who I don't want on my side are the other two that clearly had no chance.
Oh, Teresa and Alma?
Introduced first and weren't in the other room with them.
It's true. Not Jeanette. Yeah. So he's yelling, "We've lost Jeanette," and here she comes. And she explains that she got lost in the engine room
below deck.
Below deck
Yeah.
where the men voted her most likely to, but she never finished
Well,
what she was most likely to.
The joke was that, but she was such an airhead that she didn't get the joke.
Yeah. She
I
came
get
in
it.
real hot and real
Yeah.
dumb. So it's-
Broad
Yeah.
strokes. Like we want to let
But
you
I
know
thought-
just yeah.
I thought it was interesting. That is Priscilla Barnes, who would be the third and final blonde on Three's Company. But when she was on Three's Company,
Terry?
she was Terry the nurse. Yeah.
Interesting.
But when she was on Three's Company, she actually was the least ditzy of the three.
I thought so.
That was
she had,
the whole
she had a real
twist.
job.
Show her range.
But she totally could have been the ditzy replacement for Suzanne Summers. She was fine in
done
that.
a great job.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, she's great at that, like lost in the headlights look.
but that's our
Which is-
fourth. That's our fourth Three's Company. So
Wow.
I
just
really
looking
need to start
Don
writing
Knopf.
these down because I think we're getting
Wow.
we're getting lost in the sauce here with those. But
Wow,
Fourth
that's
time,
amazing.
same Three's Company or the fourth character from Three's
fourth
Company?
person that was a regular on Three's Company that's been on the
Yeah.
boat so far. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Wow. I wouldn't think Terry would be the fourth. I don't know why. I just
No.
wouldn't imagine.
Well, we're all
mean-
waiting for Larry Dallas. So
Oh, we all have dreams.
Hmm.
Robin Brandt checks in with Julie just as a man going by the name Jim Smith, which like I've heard a bad, Ron Mexico. I mean, we've all heard the worst example.
The bad alias names.
But
Yeah.
Jim Smith, just and Julie's okay. So he checks in as Jim Smith, and Robin tells Julie that he's actually Congressman J.P. Whitcomb. Julie is just
Blank face.
oblivious, just nothing.
and they make
No,
it
that's
sound like
Jim
this
Smith.
guy is basically like Nixon, right? Like everybody knows
Yeah,
who
like
he
he's
is.
the head. This guy just has narcissism written all over him, just
Yeah.
whose wife is divorcing him because he cheated on her.
Well, that's what the tabloids say.
That's what the
That's what the-
tablet
yeah,
with,
if you believe everything
if
you
you
read,
don't-
Mike.
you can't believe everything you read, with a quote unquote
Yeah.
chorus girl.
They changed her vocation about 30 times in this. She
Did
had a
she become
lot
a
of different
dancer?
jobs for stripper.
I don't know. I guess yeah, that's just stripper, chorus girl.
Did
Okay,
you not say stripper in 1978? Because I mean, she
Maybe
clearly
fun.
was a stripper, right?
Maybe
Like-
fun,
I mean,
fun.
I think you could say like go-go dancer, but even that, I don't think they would want. I think
Like we all agree
Think it
she
was called
wasn't
an
at the
exotic
Bolshoi, right? Like,
Oh.
yes.
yeah, she's interesting. But then Julie, it's weird that they sandwich these together. She asked her about her dinner preference because a lot of the stuff on the Love Boat revolves around dinner, which is
Well,
interesting.
that's a big deal on the boat also. The
So
captain's
you get to
dinner.
pick.
Let me.
So you get to. This is 2 weeks in a row now where you get to pick your table,
Yeah,
and it's solely based on interactions with somebody else. Like Jim
Well,
Smith.
that's not true. You don't pick your table. Your table is set for you based on your room.
Well, that's what we thought up until
Oh.
last week, and now it seems like you can
They
just
freaked
finagle
it
your
a
way
little
into any
bit.
table.
They
Okay.
freaked it a little bit. They go with the storylines. But
So
the
let me
captain's
ask.
dinner is the
I
biggest
assumed this
dinner
was all
on the
true.
boat.
So-
So at the captain's dinner, is the captain there?
Yes.
Are you
And everybody gets dressed up. It's like the suit and tie event.
okay?
This has
Is
been
there?
consistent. Our
They
reports
sell
about the dinners
lobster
are,
and all
are
that.
the same.
They give you lobster and all that to get the good food.
Wow. Did you meet the captain?
Yes, every time.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Did you know the captain's name?
2 times.
Okay.
Like
That I
you could
remember.
go.
He introduces himself with his name, but that I remembered it was only 2
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Because those were the only 2 times I met him before I started drinking.
Was his name Jim Smith? It's something easy to remember. Wait,
And
aren't you?
also-
Nope.
Captain
Did he
has
kiss
never
you
been
on the
American.
hand?
The captain has never been American. That's another thing. I've never had an American captain on a cruise ship.
Oh, so you were on the Sun Princess.
I was always Carnival. It was always Carnival cruises, but
like Norwegian.
Never been-
Are they what where do you think where were they from?
random, like exotic Argentina or something like that. Or one was from Paris, and the other one was from. It was like random places like that. One was Asian. I'm not going to say where part of Asian because I don't remember, but he was Asian.
And then we get friggin' white bread Captain
Merrill
Stubing
from Brooklyn,
Great.
New York.
Yeah, great.
Yes.
Balding Stubing
Yes.
with short white shorts and long white socks. Get out of here with that.
Yeah.
They should have made a show about your cruises. I mean, good
Well,
Lord.
watching this, the accuracy of a cruise ship is in the show. I can say that they hit a lot of accurate things that happen on cruise ships. We'll get into that as we get into the episode, and I'll explain them to you. But yeah,
That's excellent.
Oh, that's
they got
good to
a
know.
lot of cruise ship accuracy there.
That's
Interesting.
excellent.
Well, that's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Virgil Gibson. Virgil Gibson boards the ship, and he's sort of like singing dancing his way, like shuffling his way on the boat. And this, you can see this is wearing pretty thin with Stephanie Hayden behind him, just sort of grumbling like, just get on the damn ship. Like, let's go, dude. And I can't argue with Stephanie. If somebody was doing that crap and I just want to get on the ship and get checked in, and this dude's like wappa dappa doo, but all this stuff, dude.
It's like when I would be getting when I would be at the clothespin Dunkin' Donuts by City Hall in the morning.
Oof.
You know, I just need my coffee.
Dunkin' Donuts.
I just need my coffee. And somebody's like chatting up the lady at the register for like 5 minutes, and it's just like, oh my god, I have $2.10 in my pocket. Please shut up so I can have my coffee.
I'm going off for 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, so
Well, it's not a place you want to just hang out for any longer than you have to hang out. Just get in there, get the transaction over with, and get out.
But I
Sounds
think
like a brothel, Mike.
Right.
an underlying issue is, if I was Stephanie, or maybe if I'm the person behind Stephanie, is I'm waiting in line in this weird open doorway where there's no check-in process. I'm stuck behind Scatman Crothers, and the doctor and 2 other ship people and the bartender are all just hanging out here. Like, can somebody get a clipboard and check me in so I can go? Poor.
Well, and I feel like
3/5 of the staff had nothing to do this week.
And no,
at all.
I feel like
I was
the
going to ask
3
you guys
guys.
that. I was going to ask you guys that. Do they ever work? It seems like the only person that
This was
worked
particularly egregious.
Yeah, it was pretty bad this week. It was pretty bad because basically Doc, Gopher, and Isaac, they're just like, it's like a meat market. Like when the people get on the boat, it's almost like they're like, look, which is just crazy because it's, I don't know. On one hand, like they stress like the professionalism and standards and like, chain of command. And on the other sense, they're just like, potential victims. It's just,
geez. The only saving grace, the only saving grace for any of their behavior was that it was the rare 3-day cruise as opposed to what we assume are the normal 10-day cruises.
Yeah.
So I think shorter cruise, more time for screwing around.
Well, that's why there's less time for Scatman. Yo, it's a 3-day cruise. Like, why don't you scat that way? Let me get on the damn boat. I'd be
You only get hand bone, but so many nights.
Man, Stephanie's got a paper to write. Get out of the way. By the way, though, Virgil Gibson, badass suit coat. That was a fantastic sport coat.
He inspired my look today.
I like that. Oh, that is nice.
That's exactly the look that he would support. That was a great sports coat.
The whole episode, he looked like $1 million. Even like the dinner in the end.
Yeah.
Which I think second time we've seen someone smoke on the show, which I'm sure they just let him do whatever. But
I didn't even pick up on that. Good call.
Yeah. He just looked so sharp, looked so well put together. Like it was cool. Rita is less than thrilled with the tiny cabin she's been assigned to share with both Susie and Jeanette. And then they rush off to go throw confetti because
another good Jeanette line. And when they got into the room,
what did Jeanette say?
I love the room. We don't have to share with anybody. There's 3 of them in a room.
She's so dumb.
They couldn't get him like a 2. Like it's the boat.
Hey,
Also,
you see the
3
suite?
beds in a bunk on the boat.
They're going to
the
give him the
boat line
crappiest
contact.
room. They're going to give him that one by the engine room. They're like,
Yeah, Virgil Gibson has 19 people in his room
He's
at
having
the
a
end
party.
for a party.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. What do they need room for? There's no TV in any of the like. What do you need room
You
for?
got
You're just here to
sleep?
sleep in here. That's it.
Yeah, cabins on the boat are small.
Really?
Okay.
They are all small. I've never seen 3 beds, but it's 2 beds, and it's just that's it. TV up on the side that just shows the boat all day.
I mean,
There's
they
no
should have been
TV.
pro. They should have been pro. Marcia running off with her boyfriend. Give him
Yeah,
some room.
go ahead. There's
His
more
room was
room.
pretty big though.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
had a decent sized room.
Yeah,
His room, which he apparently just bought like
last
on a
minute,
whim at the
Yeah,
door. Like
He was luckier than Jack on Titanic.
That's funny.
I wish it had ended like that for him.
Enter Susie's boyfriend, Rick. Which is such a stalker move. Surprise. I'm on this cruise too. And Susie, is very nervous, and she reminds him, as per pageant rules, she's required to be unattached and free to travel. I can see you're ready to say
this
something.
conversation, right? Like you had this conversation before you went away for your boat contest.
He probably dropped her off.
Engaged.
He dropped her off at the damn boat.
You're like, hey, Rick,
Surprise.
I'll be going for 3 days. And if this goes well, I'll be going for a year. It's very important to me. They will give us money for this.
$5,000.
All you need to do
For 3
is nothing for 3 days.
Nothing. Just stay home.
Nothing at all.
Or don't even come. Okay, if you're going to be here, just
don't even be here. No.
Just
The
don't
crime is
be
being
here.
there.
You know what that is? It's just
Yeah, so
insecurity.
if he
'Cause he's
dropped her
getting
off, right?
Right.
And
would
when
imagine.
did he get his room? After he dropped her off, or did he know he had a room?
I don't. I bet you he didn't drop her off. I bet you they all met at the office, the 5 girls. So Waldo's head, who is the head of the office,
Head of the office.
right? Exactly.
Office, yeah.
And then they all drove over in the
Pacific
Ambassador
Princess
Mobile or whatever.
Yeah,
So
it's all tracking.
the Waldo
The
Mobile.
Waldo bus,
The
yeah, the Waldo van. Makes sense. I thought Rick, that's you know what I mean? I feel like that's the act of an insecure person
And he gave that off the whole episode.
who felt like he was hitting well above his average by dating her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll kick this coverage.
Yep.
But like, I don't know why Susie just wasn't like, yo, no, get out of here. What are you doing?
Because she didn't seem like the most confident person either, though.
No, she was all, remember she was
Easy
saying,
to
oh,
manipulate.
it's so basically we're talking about this amount of money, $5,000. She's alluding to this, this would be a vast sum that would make a super nice wedding present for the 2 of them. Oh, and then Rick is like, oh, wedding, and he kind of.
Yeah, but you know what? Rick's got enough money, I guess, to buy a ticket for no reason.
Yeah, why don't
where's that coming out of?
Yeah,
So
you're
I
mismanaging.
was going to ask that question. Back in that time, 78, you said?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was 5,000 equivalent to now? What would you say?
$100 million. I have no idea.
Because it seemed like she was getting lowball for those 3 national commercials.
Yeah, it's like $16.50 per commercial.
Yeah, it was a little.
And you get to travel, but probably just to the same 3 spaces. Like,
it's weird that it ended up just being this nice, cute, round number. Like, wait a minute. On the dot? Oh, okay.
3 commercials, 5,000.
You know what that is? Waldo's keeping like 80% of that. He is wetting his beak in every one of those commercials. Like, yep.
Well, when they said the 5,000, the first thing my brain went to was that God, what was the that name of Michael Keaton movie where he had to have surgery. And he's like, your mom has to have surgery, you know, and it's how much is the surgery? And it would be like $49.99.
Johnny Dangerously.
And like this crime, how much does it pay? $5,000.
Yeah.
It was just so specific. And that was
Second
so
Michael
funny.
Keaton movie you brought up today.
Yep. You should see that one too.
That's a great movie. That's one of my favorites.
Friend of the show, Kevin Redding, loves that movie.
Has he done an episode yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. No.
Waiting for like Roy Rogers to be on or some
sort of mountaineer. Yeah. Something about raccoons or something. I don't
know. Grizzly Adams.
Phone rings. It's Robin. She gets a call from her editor and she tells him she's working on now keep in mind, he tells him she's working on a juicy story for the paper about a certain congressman.
Hold on.
She's already going in with the
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree, but she says she has a juicy story for the magazine.
Yes, I got that also. She was a magazine editor.
Right.
Oh, I didn't
get the magazine. The obvious difference between a magazine and a newspaper is the frequency in which you publish.
Of course.
And so it makes total sense that a magazine, you know, you're not going to, no matter what happens on this boat, they're probably not getting a story
coming out in 3 days.
Right. But obviously with a newspaper, it's switched. So it's switched. So either Frank folded Scuttlebutt magazine and brought it back up as a newspaper, or
beautiful name of a magazine and newspaper.
Scuttlebutt.
Do you have a copy of Scuttlebutt?
Yes.
And
no, we don't have a copy of Scuttlebutt. We have the Metro.
with Sudoku and ours.
We have the City Paper and the Philly Weekly. We do not have Scuttlebutt.
Oh,
I wonder if they have an online. I wonder if there's an online version.
5K and 78 is 24K now.
All right, that's not bad for 3 days' work.
Still a low ball for 3 commercials.
Wow.
I mean, again, I think Waldo is
national commercials. Made sure there was national commercials.
Well, and you're right, because you should probably get a percentage. Like every time it runs, you get
You're not paying her. Like they're like, look, lady. Man, that
they
made
still
me
run that same
really...
game now, though. You win a beauty pageant, you get 5 commercials.
Yeah, 5 commercials. Here you go. Wow, the fact that money is worth that much now, I've never felt older. I don't think in my entire life. Like that's like like I can count the rings on that one. That one hurts a little bit. Jeez.
Well, it doesn't matter because she chose love at the end anyway. So
don't they all?
Don't they all? Yeah, don't they all?
At the end of the call, Robin adds, well, she says that, you know, Congressman boarded the ship alone, but adds, but he won't be for long. Miscasting alert. Miscasting alert. Stop it. Stop it. What is she gonna do? Like she left her wife for a chorus girl, and Vicky's gonna. I got her.
Hold on. It's Dick Van Patten. Wait, it's Dick Van Patten. It's not.
It's a congressman still.
It's not Fernando Lamas. Like it's Dick Van Patten.
Yeah, but he's not like. You know what I mean? He's not. You know,
I'm with Robert.
I don't even know.
He's still a congressman. They don't really get.
That's what I'm saying. They have power
in the 70s.
Yeah, but the chorus girl, I bet you she's more attractive than Vicki Lawrence. No offense, Miss Lawrence.
Not.
Again, chorus girl.
That's what I'm saying.
And that didn't work out anyway.
If you went to a strip club and you saw Vicki Lawrence in there, wouldn't you be a little bit disappointed?
No, but if I went to a boat and I was the horniest congressman in Washington, D.C., I'd be fine with Vicki Lawrence. He was playing by dock rules. He was going to hook up with the first person who talked to him. So.
Oh, it's like once I'm on this ship, it's like international water, like whatever.
That was inaccurate. I had a Cooper experience.
Jim Smith needs some action.
Jim Smith. Oh boy. So Virgil is holding court with the crew. And he's teaching them how to do a dance. This is where it gets a little uncomfortable. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to say the name of the dance, right? I don't feel comfortable. Not going to say it. But and that's because I read it what that dance was. And it, essentially it was a dance done in slave times.
And that is why Stephanie felt the way she felt about him initially, because he reminded her of what they called minstrel back then,
like shuck and jive kind of stuff.
The black performer. It was called a minstrel back in those days, and that was their one of their go-to dances right there, and that's why she hated it so much.
Because instead, I see, like she wanted to look ahead, not. Yeah.
Well, I think they did a really good job too, because it's like you couldn't have just any character be Virgil, right? It had to be somebody so charismatic and so charming and so amazing, like Scatman Crothers. And that's why I thought the balance, I think they did a really good job of that storyline. I don't think The Love Boat is built for this level of nuance. And I think eventually they kind of ruin it with some of the stuff at the end.
Well, Mike, that happened to us a lot in Oscars. You may not realize it though.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
People view me as Virgil. Like with me, you know how it used to be at Oscars, dancing and singing and all that type of stuff, carrying on. And there were a lot of people there who would say to me later or to the side of something, why you jumping around for these people like that? And things like that. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Not like that.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
What?
But
messing around.
Some people still today don't understand things like that. You can't perform in front of people or you're going to be labeled a minstrel or something like that.
Even though, and I guess I never really thought about it like that, but even though you are exactly like Virgil in that that is your personality. You are like that in any room, in any crowd. And I guarantee you Virgil is like that when he's selling peanuts or when he's playing baseball.
He's just how he is. He's
just peanuts, selling peanuts.
Exactly.
He's just I can't fault his character. He just seems like he's a happy dude for whatever reason. Maybe he feels blessed or whatever it is.
Umbrage to them coming at him.
I don't even think it registered with him because he is who he is.
Yeah, right. and I'm sure he heard
there's shade didn't register with him because
he's
just doing what he does.
And given what we know about him, being baseball and everything else, I'm sure he heard way worse than that. You know what I mean? I'm sure things so that wasn't
right.
But he just didn't seem like a guy who was going to have a bad day, and that is why he was having parties every night and everything. And it's sometimes I have a little bit here later that we'll get to, which is basically why are these people on the boat? But Virgil ain't on there because that guy is I'm going to go on a cruise and have a really great time for 3 days. And you know what he did? He had a really great time for 3 days. And that's,
and again, I love, I'm 100% with you. However, get on the boat. You know what I mean? I don't want to wait for you to get on the boat. That's it. I'm going to go back to that. That was the only thing I would be because I know I'd see him on the cruise and I'd be like, that's a dude that was taking forever to go. But I do agree. I think everything was coming from a good place from him. You know what I mean? There was no off intention. He just seemed like a positive guy.
One of those 5 cruises, I won Cha-Cha Slide King.
Oh,
what'd you get?
Who could do the Cha-Cha Slide the longest, and I was the last man standing.
How long did you Cha-Cha slide?
I did it with a balloon under my shirt, I was a pregnant man.
How long did you do it for?
45 minutes, 45.
Wait, you Cha-Cha slid for 45 minutes?
So you Cha-Cha slid way longer. You Cha-Cha slid way longer than you rode that bull.
Yeah. They don't like men on the bull.
Those things are not. No, they'll throw you off in a heartbeat.
Yeah, if it was a woman, it'd be a different choice.
So we did learn one actual fact that Isaac is from Oakland.
Yeah.
Which does line up with last week or 2 weeks ago when his mom was on board and we were trying to figure out when he was trying to drive Isaac's girlfriend home. They must all live in California. So
wait a minute. You're not driving from Los Angeles to Oakland.
Well, no, but
That's
I'm
a
saying
really long drive. I mean, it makes sense that they were going to drop her off
right.
there and then go to Oakland.
Like they weren't
but
going to the
driving
airport.
to Oakland. Yeah,
Listen,
yeah, that makes
there
sense.
were a lot of lies told on that episode where Isaac and his longtime girlfriend got together, as evidenced by this episode.
I agree.
Oh, I say Isaac has a girlfriend. Didn't seem like it.
Nah, it doesn't seem like Isaac knows he has a girlfriend.
Yeah, it's almost like they don't write it every episode for him, so he forgets, and they remember, and you're like, oh, yeah,
just forget when he was flirting with the random guests.
exactly.
Yeah.
Robin approaches Jim Smith. Here we go, Robin. Robin.
Hot Robin.
Hot Robin addresses him as Congressman Whitcomb. Like, nice.
And he's shocked.
Just like, and then I was like,
I foolproof disguise.
What?
Falling down.
How? He should have been like, that's not me. But it's so funny because like nothing like this situation would never happen. Obviously, no cell phones, none of that stuff. Like this kind of crap just wouldn't happen today. I
don't think you would get. I don't think if you were in his position even 20 years ago, you would be able to get out by yourself. Like at the very least, your handler would be there with him. Or security
that's 20 years ago, but we talk about 40
years ago.
Yeah,
it's definitely easier to do it then.
Like, yeah, these guys have like teams of people.
Plus, apparently, plenty of tickets on this cruise are available. People are just walking up and grabbing.
Did they say what state he was from?
No, they did not.
No,
that would have made more sense of how he was by himself.
Oh yeah.
Oh, do you think like if he was like
from Kansas or something?
Yeah, he was a smaller town congressman.
That makes something.
It'd be more easy to get out.
The more we go through this, the more surprised. I think I'm surprised that most people are local to the cruise. Which I guess there's only so many cruise lines.
Where's the cruise leaving from every time?
Los Angeles.
LA.
Los Angeles? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. They said a 3-day cruise to Mexico, and I'm like, well, where are they leaving from?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because that's what our friend Jamie said early on in the season. It was like, I live in LA. I don't know where these things are going.
Yeah.
So I wonder, like Santa Barbara, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's just like north of LA or south of LA or something. I don't know.
Because when I lived in Tampa, people would fly down. No, I'm sure locals would take cruises, but people would fly down, and that was a big port. And so I think maybe I thought that it would be like, I don't know, we'd have a lot of people from Washington State or stuff like that. And maybe we will, but it does seem like when they do, it's either people travel like 50,000 miles to get here, or they walk.
Mm-hmm.
They walk from their house.
Yeah, like all but one of my cruises was from Fort Lauderdale.
Right.
The one we went to Bermuda, we left out at Newark, up there, the Newark port,
New
Jersey. That one was like a 5-day over to Bermuda.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was maybe one of the more fun ones also. Because that one was more on water longer rather than a lot of stops. A lot of stops you kind of be on and off, so it kind of breaks up the cruise. The cruises are better when you're on the water for like 2 days and then you're just stuck with these people. So you have to get to know these people the whole time. And that's why I excel at it, Mike.
That's why I don't go on cruises.
That is my biggest nightmare come true, actually.
Yeah, like the one in Bermuda, the Eagles end up playing like on Monday night. So the first 3 days, I was just promoting this party I was having at the sports bar on Monday night, not thinking that people were actually listening to me. Come Monday night, half the cruise ship showed up at this bar. It seemed like.
You are a modern day Virgil Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. It was like it ended up being a really big party. We played the Bears.
Did you guys win?
Bears.
Nice.
I've seen you throw a baseball. You're not a modern day Virgil Gibson.
Not a pitcher.
Congressman replies that she must be confusing him with someone else. Robin goes on, beautiful Robin was hot. Robin says something about how a man's private life should remain private, which is like she's already like all doe-eyed, like right off the bat. I figure she's just trying to get a story.
I think she was just setting him up at this point.
But then he won her over when he told the real story.
Right. Right.
And then she
Real
kind of saw
story.
her change.
Yeah.
Like she kind of like melted in her seat a little bit.
That's good. He's a politician. Like he knows how to do. That's how we got the frickin' chorus
I'll tell you
girl.
one
or
thing,
whatever.
though.
Horse girl.
He's going to that Starlight Bar. Sexy
Yeah.
times for Dick Van Patten right there
Upstairs.
at Starlight Bar.
Yeah, I wondered about this. I had that highlighted. Like, I don't know what the Starlight Bar is. Like, is there a different?
So I'm going to guess that the Starlight Bar was on a Lido deck, which is the top outside deck of the
Oh
boat.
yeah, that makes
A
sense.
lot of
Oh,
weirdest things go on at night on the Lido deck.
that's what I'm
Okay.
talking about.
And that does make sense because we know there's a bar there because we've seen it during the day. We
Yeah,
haven't
I've
seen
seen
it used at night.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Man, we are learning so much about the boat.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. Captain Steubing tells Waldo he's concerned about having to deliver all the jokes that are written. Waldo says, like, don't worry, I got this. He's like, you'll be great. I've been writing for comedians a lot. People like Bert Parks and Monty Hall.
Man, those guys just catching it. Burt Parks catches a huge stray in this one.
Isn't Monty Hall from Let's Make a Deal?
Yeah, and I think Burt Parks was the old man who used to host Miss America.
That would
Was
make
that his
sense why they
song?
mentioned them.
Yeah.
That makes sense why
Ugh.
they mentioned them.
There she is. Yeah, that guy.
Why is he throwing people? Why is Waldo
Burt
throwing these
Parks-
guys under the bus?
some-
Good Lord. What
They
did Monty
got a
Hall ever
weird-
do?
They got a weird hit list on this show. Like
Very
Charles
weird.
Bronson gets one. Burt
just-
Parks.
Oh,
Like,
God. As the pageant gets underway, Steubing introduces the contestants with these
Do you have the
jokes that
bios?
are just what's that?
do you have the bios?
I don't have the bios. No. Oh no, you have the bios.
Alma Hodges, 19, is a sophomore at Oklahoma A&M, and she's a veterinarian student.
Alma.
No, here's the joke.
Teresa Chen, 21, from San Francisco, marine biology.
Solid.
Susie Corbett, 22, music major. That's it. Doesn't say where she's from. Doesn't say where she goes to school.
Just she's a music major. Okay.
Yeah. Rita Alvarez, 20,
go.
history student from San Antonio. Doesn't necessarily mean she's going to
Makes
school there.
sense.
From
Makes
San
sense.
Antonio. And then
Oh,
Jeanette
no.
Arno, 22, went to Oklahoma, but was very popular at the University of Nebraska. So
It's great.
2 landlocked states are being represented for this cruise line ambassador job.
Yeah, tell us about your cruise. Well, I can tell you about like endless cornfields.
Yeah.
What? What are you talking about? They don't even have water like that in the middle of the
no.
country. What?
I've never seen this much water in my entire life. I'm petrified. So,
Mhm.
Do they all have to swim? Like, is that part of the deal? Like, in order to, you have to be a.
Yeah, like someone tried to pick me and a friend up one time at a bar and said that they were from California and their occupation was an oceanographer, but their job sent them to Pennsylvania. I didn't understand that at all. Like,
get to an ocean from here.
if you're an oceanographer, why are they sending you to Pennsylvania for work?
I remember they had like a Navy base in Germany. I'm like, what?
So do you
What are you
think
doing?
Waldo just went to Oklahoma one day and just was like, you? Like, it's just like
No, he went to
running behind.
Nebraska. He went to
He's
Nebraska.
promising $5,000 to everyone. It's just weird. And they went. And was he just going cross country in the Waldo van?
Like, why
Picking up
not?
chicks.
Yeah, the Waldo
If you're
one.
writing this episode, why not spice up the backstories of these people? Like,
They need
why,
hard
Oklahoma and Oklahoma A&M? Like, what the-
Stupid. Just look at
It
the
didn't fit the
college
jokes.
football. Like, and they were so I guess the word is misogynistic. You know, just everything was the
Super.
same.
Super.
Like,
yeah, especially when you think
Same
about a couple of them
vein.
are like
ugh.
20 and Stubing's
Yeah.
100.
Like, and then it was, he the better he was, his confidence is growing. Like, oh,
And that ain't helping anybody.
oh, geez, so everyone's applauding. Waldo tells the captain he was terrific, reminds him that tonight is the evening wear / interview portion. And Steubing said he'd like an advanced look at the script so he could punch it up. That made me giggle a little bit, but it was like,
I just wanted to point out, I think I might have the actual name. No, I do. Carita of California designed all these outfits, and you can purchase them in the gift shops.
It's all like circle of promotion.
Yeah.
Everything's sending you back to the gift shop, which is
this
just so
boat is
funny.
either doing really well or doing very
never
poorly
good.
because they have stepped up the promotion and the advertising.
Well, the
That's
merchandising.
another
is crazy.
accuracy thing on cruises. They have photographers all over the boat, right?
Yeah.
Taking these beautiful pictures of you. But
To sell to you.
the kicker is you can purchase all of those pictures at the end of the day at the gift shop for $20 a picture.
$20 a picture.
My phone takes pictures.
This is these cruises were in the before 2010. All of them were before 2010. So phones wasn't really a big
That's
thing.
outrageous.
Picture
Well, they
taking.
have you. Like, where are you going to go? They got you in every
Yeah.
way. It's almost like I would
Especially on a
imagine being on
captain's
a.
dinner.
It's like Disney.
I almost think it's like going into like the Great Wolf Lodge, which is that place, man. I think that there's no like there's.
Some of these places just money pits.
It's a money pit. Everything is
It's
$1 million.
$32.
A plastic wand, $90. I'm like, what? And food. It's just crazy.
Before we pop out of this scene, I thought it was interesting. They showed the judges for like half a second.
Yeah.
But the judges were nobody. Judges got no speaking roles. Like, I can't believe they didn't just have the crew be the judges. That was actually...
They were hand-boning.
Right.
They were hand-boning.
Yeah,
They probably were supposed to be the judges.
That's another accuracy on the cruise ship. Those type of events happen right there by the swimming pool during the day. Like, because everybody just chilling by the pool. So they have those type of events right there at the swimming pool.
How deep is the swimming pool?
That's good to know.
The pools are never
We had
like 3 to 4 feet. Because they got kids got to get in them.
Yeah.
We had a Dear Abby character give a speech there, and I thought that was ridiculous. But I guess
no, everything. Yeah, during the day, everything happens right there in that same vicinity. But that's where most people congregate at. The pool, the slides.
Who knew the Love Boat was so spot on reality?
Is it like an NBA game where they just fill up time with everything? Like it doesn't seem like if I wanted to go and just chill out, I don't want to do activities. I just want to just lay around and do a bunch of nothing.
You can do that on like the sides of the boat, up on the upper deck, like the Lido and all of that.
If they want to,
like
keep
if
the party
you're
going.
in that main pool area, you're definitely going to be entertained by something.
Great.
That's where the cha-cha slide competition was at.
Of course.
Of course it was. Of course it was. Maybe the most uncomfortable line in the history of the show for me so far. Julie. Geez, I don't even know how to say it to Virgil. Hey, can you teach me how to blank bone? That's as far as I'm going to go. I'm watching this episode and this happens, and my wife and kids were out of town. I was yelling, no, no, poor sweet dumb Julie, no. I was so uncomfortable. I'm like, oh my God. Oh God. And then
there was a naivete. There was a naivete with Julie that whole episode that was like, come on, you've been around the world.
Doc knows better. If Gopher so Doc and Gopher join in, and I'm standing up at this point, and I'm like, I'm trying to shade my eyes, just like stop. I can't believe this is happening.
That was one of the things I wanted to know watching it. Is those characters in other episodes, are they just like are they just the same way they were in this one, or are they like
it is wildly inconsistent.
Yeah.
Because you just watch that episode, right? Not any other episodes, you would think that the main characters was the captain and
Isaac.
Isaac, right?
Yeah.
Like you would think that the other three were just like extras or something like that.
But then last week we did a 2-hour episode, and Isaac had about 15 lines.
Yeah.
In the whole thing. And then the week before, he was the main guy again. So it's just all over the place. The way they act, how much time they get, it's crazy.
And based on like the writers, right? So you have 3 different writers for each because 3 different episodes. The thing that Mike and I have seen pretty consistently is the inconsistency in which they paint the characters. Like there was a few episode run where Julie, they just made her look so desperate. She was always trying to make out with people, this whole thing. And now we're on this.
She's a hot pants, huh?
Where Julie, now she's like, well, now she's sort of naive. They're trying to go this way with her. So it's, the captain was one way, and now, he's a civil rights leader by the end of this episode. So it's just, I don't know what to think, man. I can't stand Captain Stubing. And this one just, oh man,
he gives a history lesson to the history.
We could all learn something. Like, oh, shut up, Meryl. Like, you don't know anything, bro.
So when Stephanie gets mad, when Stephanie gets mad, you know what I would have gotten mad is, like, you ever hear the thing, time to lean, time to clean? Like, this entire crew is not working. It's like, man, that peanut bowl better be filled. I'll tell you that. Like,
oh, that's funny.
Well, Isaac was working.
Right. Isaac and Stubing are the only people working this week.
Nobody got hurt, so Doc was off.
He just chilling.
We don't know. They only talked to 5 passengers. Like, we don't even know. There could be really fatal injuries somewhere.
Yeah, this is a small section. This is a small sample of
the boat.
Good Lord, thousands of people.
It is funny though, they do, because the Christmas one was like this too, where it was a shorter cruise and it was very empty. So I wonder if that logic is what
the
they're
longer
going with.
Cruises have more people on them.
Yeah.
That could
make sense. Yeah, she's upset. Stephanie is just saying how long before he starts strumming on the banjo, which is kind of like what you said earlier. I mean, it's that minstrel sort of thing.
And where they were sitting there, where her and Isaac was at, is also a good area at night where the pinky goes on that a lot.
Really?
Because the pool area is now closed, so it's an open space that's outside. It's right below the Lido deck, but still a good spot for hanky-pankiness because the hot tubs never close.
Nice.
It's not a good spot if you're trying to finish your dissertation, though.
That is true. Not a lot of light to write by.
There's no desk.
There's nothing. Susie drops by Rick's cabin, and they start smooching. They're breaking rules. Rick asked her to sneak back.
Here comes my dogs.
I got it. What kind of dog is that?
No, they're barking at something else.
Oh, I got.
But you can hear them.
My dog never.
Excited about Rick.
Yeah, because they don't like Rick either. Exactly. So he asked her to sneak back to his cabin, knowing what he knows about the pageant. And she caves and says she'll see him later that evening.
Mm-hmm.
Rick's putting her in a bad spot.
Rick was a hater.
And they have to have that long smooch right in the doorway. And who sees her?
Yeah.
Team Rita.
Hater.
She's so worried. She's so worried about getting caught. And then let me just make out in the doorway. Come on, man.
Why didn't
nothing ever comes from that? Nothing ever good comes from that.
Well, it's funny because they sort of went out there and did that. It's just interesting. I feel like they could have gone the way to he wanted her to get caught.
He did.
We're gonna smooch in the hallway, and then Rita.
He did.
He's not a nice guy.
Hold on. Let me give you this extra long smooch
in the hallway.
Right. Man, Rita's checking you out. She's
Rita's always watching. You don't mess with Rita.
Because Rita knew she had no chance of winning.
She'd be the ambassador for my ship line. I'll tell you that.
She's gonna start killing all the other contestants. Don't mess with Rita. Shoot, she will cut you. Isaac walks down the hall and he's checking out.
Oh God, this is so
Rita's hiding.
A little quick peek.
And he bumps into Stephanie and her armloads of books on Black history. She informs him she's currently working on her dissertation And she has a book about the slave families of Virginia that she thinks that he would find fascinating. Let me say, Isaac doesn't give two. He's just eye on the prize with Isaac. Let's just keep it real. He doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and
Isaac
we'll
is
see.
as interested in Black history as he needs to be to hook up with Stephanie.
Yeah, exactly. He's being a
Except for
chameleon.
maybe like 2 minutes.
Well,
But for the most part, I think he's just into Stephanie.
Well, yeah. No, I think well, and I think this is where it changes when a few seconds later, Gopher rushes over, right in front of Stephanie, and asks Isaac if he could give him some H-boning tips.
That is the worst. That is the worst cock blocking I have ever seen in my entire life.
I don't even know how to define it. It was so egregious. It was terrible.
He ran down the hallway to break that conversation up.
Well, like he's not going to see him later.
It doesn't matter, man. You guys are boys. Like, you know he likes this chick. He said it already. And you come beelining down the hallway to...
Everybody has that friend, though, Mike, that is oblivious to what you're trying to do.
I guess. That was
Not everybody could be you. You were keyed in on all of it.
That is true. You should all be so lucky to have me as your wingman. But
everybody can be a great wingman.
Exactly.
Some people are just oblivious to what's going on.
But the first rule is not do that. So
I took issue with this, though. I took issue, and I'll tell you why. Because if we remember how this H-boning thing got started, right? Remember, Isaac was all like, "Well, look what I can do." You talk about H-boning. Look at me, H-bone, and he did his own thing, right? It was cool then, but so it's not cool because it's not cool with Stephanie. Is that the only reason? Or I wonder if part of him was like,
that's 100%.
We can't have Gopher H-boning on this damn boat. Like, he looks ridiculous. Or is it just Stephanie related, do you think?
It's definitely one.
Just Stephanie. That's got to be.
Yeah. If Stephanie looked like Vicki Lawrence, I don't think Isaac would be all up in arms.
I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that one coming.
Question for you guys. Do we know the ages of these characters on the boat at that time? Not their
good question.
Yeah. So we have been working off of the ages of the actors.
Mm-hmm.
They never specifically say the character ages. They just kind of give like loose references. So we are working under the assumption that Julie and Gopher and Isaac are all about mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the captain and the doctor are like late 40s. That's kind of how we're operating. So.
But nothing is ever really specific.
But they're never like happy 40th birthday.
Crew members are never old.
Right. But they don't change out. I think these are our crew members for the rest of the run.
Forever.
Well, that would make sense if they're in their mid to late 20s, because they're still young enough to be on the boat for those many years.
Yeah.
Before you get family and all that other crazy, yeah.
Well, I mean, the way Isaac's going, he's going to have family every week on this show.
No kidding. Poor Roxy Blue.
Poor Roxy Blue and poor Charlene.
Yeah. Robin calls Frank to tell him she doesn't have anything yet.
But
and she needs a little more time. So he gives her 1 hour. Wait a minute. This is 70.
That magazine has to print.
Like, things don't work this fast. Like, what are you talking about? You're gonna wait you have 1 hour. How would she even get it to him? How is she getting an article to a newspaper?
Calling in.
You freaking
you literally dictate it over the phone. That's a thing. Yeah, that's actually a thing. So
she's only calling and giving them the tidbits, and then he's creating the story.
You only have 1 hour. So it's like, I don't know what his expectations were on this story. I think he was going to write a story no matter what.
I don't think the journalistic ethics of Scuttlebutt newspaper is really that high. So
you can't even read their website. It's like that Philly.com. It's blocked unless you pay, 63 cents.
Oh, that's how the New York Times is also. Like, you be just getting into the store and say, pay $1.
Like, you know what?
$1.
I'm going to make up the rest of the story. I'm going to make up my own ending. At the Starlight Bar, John I don't know why I said John. It's not John, it's the congressman. See,
Congressman John.
Oh, you got me, congressman. Tells Robin that he came on this cruise to briefly escape all the press scrutiny. Okay, here we go.
Now, at this
Go ahead.
time,
Yeah.
would you like to play a round of why are they on this ship? So we have 3 characters, and I would like you guys to decide
Okay.
who should be on this ship. So we'll start with John, the congressman, number 1.
Okay.
John, you are embroiled in scandal and likely to be impeached from the House. Plus, you want to get away from people on a 3-day ride on something called the Love Boat. This was ill-advised for the congressman.
Terrible timing.
I actually disagree.
Okay. Well,
I think that
you can
was a
vote.
great place for him to be.
Especially in the 70s, right?
It's away from what he thought was the reporters. The chance that one was on the boat also was just by chance, but it was a great strategy. Where else can you get away from everybody except for in the body of water?
He's just going to get in more trouble. He goes right to the bar and starts talking to the first girl that says, anything to him.
He could have gone to a bus station. He was going to hook up with the first person. So.
It's kind of control atmosphere in the middle of the ocean.
Like, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? Unless you can swim. You know?
I don't know where they got all those newspapers from to be.
There's just a floating box.
Ball in the sky.
Number 2, Stephanie, you are at crunch time to write your dissertation. And while libraries or your house or whatever passes as a 1978 coffee shop might be good for some people, not for you. You have decided to take a 3-day cruise on a boat in a tiny room that has no desk to write.
Bring your books.
Once again, I agree with Stephanie. Where else would you go other than a boat?
The library.
The library gets noisy at times. People in and out.
Noisier than a boat?
On a boat, you can control the atmosphere.
No. Number 3, Rick. Your fiance is trying to win a very important contest that apparently has only one rule, but you can't leave that one little rule stop you from crushing your dreams and also spending money that you do not have to plan for your wedding on a trip to Mexico. So who of the 3 is the worst?
Rick is
I'm going with Rick hands down.
Rick is a bag of garbage, man.
Yep.
Rick is just trying to ruin dreams. He's trying to be manipulative.
And you spend the money from the wedding.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah, and you don't even have the $5,000 now because you screwed that up too.
Yeah, when the money she's going to win, she's only going to replace from you getting the ticket.
So ridiculous.
So I think Rick wins.
Yeah.
Person who should not be on this boat.
Worst person ever. Worst person ever.
Yep.
And worst person on the boat. Yeah.
It's terrible. We're back to Robin. So Robin's in the Starlight Bar.
Mm-hmm.
Congressman says, I never admitted to making a mistake. It's like, damn, that's a baller move right there. That's some okay. And he asks her how she would feel if a reporter were watching them right now, which, and then he leaned in to give her a kiss, like on the face. Incredibly ballsy move. Like, what?
He's a congressman.
Hand could be hand. Like, that's aggressive, man. That's like FaceTiming somebody out of nowhere. But watch, this is probably worse, I would imagine.
You hate
it's just so. It's so aggressive. I mean, it's an aggressive move. Like, unless it's like a family FaceTime. Like, if I were to FaceTime like Mike at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, that's an aggressive move. That's what I'm saying. He leaned in to give her a face kiss, which just, and then he laughs about how that kiss could result in an explosive headline. The headline would be Congressman and his conquest seen living it up on the Love Boat.
Conquest.
Conquest.
Who is the writer here? The Congressman.
Scuttlebutt news.
Scuttlebutt. And then Robin looks like the look on her face is like she looks like she's waiting for an allergic reaction to set in. Like she is just kind of like she doesn't even know what to do. Oh boy, we're back to Cabin Stubing. He's introducing the evening wear. Remember, this is the bunch of jokes he wanted to quote unquote punch up.
Yeah, he did a hell of a job.
Delivers.
Before we get to there, right?
Yes, sir.
What day are we on? We're still on day 1.
No. I would assume this is day 2 if we're in the evening wear. I don't know.
The date at the Starlight was the first night.
Oh, maybe the pageant's just the one night, like different things.
So they
Like in the same night.
arrived, did the daytime pageant. Now they're doing the nighttime
pageant. Because you're right, they just went to the Starlight Lounge after that first night. Damn, that newspaper guy really didn't give her any time. It's the first day of the cruise.
Like, what was the front page story of Scuttlebutt if Robin hadn't called?
Was it a slow news day at Scuttlebutt? Like, what are you reporting on? Because I've been on the cruise literally for 6 hours. And I don't know what you want.
Having to run back and call you.
Yeah, what? Very odd. So he starts, introduces the evening wear, and he's doing the jokes, and Waldo's shaking his head and says, "I created a monster." Steubing tells the audience he's going to ask each contestant a question. Ask Jeanette about her main life goal. She says she wants to bring all of the people in the world
together
in a room together so they can live in harmony and love each other forever.
Great answer, Jeanette.
Comedy.
Also, I wrote zero credibility because she's pretty much naked, like in that thing. It was a little ridiculous.
That's more a criticism of Katina of California's clothing design.
Jeez. The barely there look. Congressman apologizes to Robin for going on about his problems. Here we go. I have a big problem. Okay. Says she's the first person he's met. Now, he's only been talking to her for literally like 40 minutes now. Okay. You're the only person I've ever met.
All the first night. This is all the first night.
It has to be. He said meet me in the Starlight Lounge later. Yeah. Because remember, this is the Rick thing. The Rick later.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just getting context. Yeah.
Pretends to be the first person he's met who pretends to be interested in hearing his side of the story. Again, he just like loose lips sink ships. I hope this guy doesn't have like national defense information, because this guy just won't shut up. He says that he and his wife were living separate lives, and they'd been planning to divorce long before Nikki, which in the 70s, Nikki was just a floozy name for a lady, I would imagine back then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Came into the picture. He said the press made it look like he was dumping his wife for a chorus girl. Then declares he truly loved Nikki, but for some reason their relationship didn't work out.
Because she was a
20-year-old stripper.
I'm not saying she's you know what I mean, but of course, she's playing about the fame and money, and she's.
So do you not believe? Do you not believe that story, Mike?
Do I not?
I believe that story.
No, I don't believe any.
Yeah, I think I do too. I actually do believe that story. That's a very logical story.
No. And I'll tell you why. It's coming. It's coming. He says something here that blows all of his credibility. He says, it's a shame because I've been working on some landmark tax reform legislation. It could really benefit millions of Americans, but it'll probably never happen because I'll never be. So I'm just calling BS.
Well, no.
If I had a hammer, I would just.
On this part, I was thinking that he was on to her being a reporter. He was just filling her with game at this point. That's what I was thinking at that point.
Oh,
that actually makes sense. Yeah.
I think he was eye on the prize, full speed ahead. This guy, I just feel like it was all BS. It's basically like saying, look, I'm working on getting some legislation that would allow all American women to get a $5,000 check in the mail. But damn, but I won't be able to because
tax reform bill to get laid.
So full of it.
At the end of the day, we can't forget that.
It's just game, because you can say you're going to try to do something that'll obviously never see the light of day. And Vicky's for a reporter, Vicky's just stupid. Like, she's just dumb.
It's like I always say, people are more interested in sensation than legislation.
That's a fact.
He had that one in his pocket. He was going to use that one right away.
Well, it's funny because Robin's saying I've never heard anything about this legislation, but she says how important it is for him to get his version of the story.
Yeah.
Robin suggests that he might find it easier to do battle if he weren't in this fight alone. I make my point. I make my point right there. Signed, sealed, delivered. Done. Because he's like, no, I want to look out for.
Wait,
It's like the Bill Murray character in Kingpin when he's doing all that charity work with single mothers. It's the same thing. He's just being a scumbag.
but that doesn't make his other story false.
I don't see color, Mike. To me,
Listen,
it's one or the other. He's a good guy or a bad guy.
I think Congressman Jim Smith is a horn dog. Absolutely. To Amin's point, he was asking Vicki Lawrence out for a drink like 30 seconds in. So I agree. But I also think it's possible that him and his wife grew apart, probably because he's a horn dog. And I also think that it didn't work out with Nikki the stripper because she's a stripper in 20s. So.
I just think that for somebody to share this much information within the first couple hours of meeting somebody, you're either trying so hard to fit into whatever they think that they want you to be. Like, I feel like he was being very manipulative.
Well, Taylor,
when
I was a Lyft driver, in a 15-minute ride, you'd be surprised how much information a stranger is willing to tell you.
I didn't think about that. I mean, that's
very
a good point.
easy to talk to a stranger.
But I think it's dependent on that person being willing to overshare a little bit too.
Well, at this point, before he knows that that she's a reporter, he's just thinking it's this woman he met on a cruise and he's never going to see in 3 days.
I see what you're saying.
Those type of things.
You're also a undersharer too, so you're coming at it from a very different perspective.
Oh, Taylor, yeah.
Like,
I mean,
you wouldn't talk if this reporter came up to you. You'd be like, no, leave me alone. Please leave me alone.
Yeah, don't. I would just back up. Yeah.
If you were trying to get over a heartbreak from a stripper.
Yeah, are you on the? How would you deal with it?
I don't know how I would deal with that.
It's an excellent rebound.
I don't know.
Excellent rebound right here.
Yeah, the idea of I just get so nervous. Just the idea of stripper club just makes my hands sweat. I don't want to deal with that. God. So we're gonna see what happens now after she's like, "I'm on your side." We'll see how that plays. Ricky sneaks Susie back into his cabin. Boo. But Rita's grabbed Waldo. She's waiting in a nearby corridor. Go Team Rita. She's going to win this thing one way or another.
So
she was just...
what was their plan? Were they just going to stand outside their room and stare at the door until they walked out?
They may have been on their way to listen.
Great idea. It's a great thought. I don't know.
Like, they didn't knock or anything.
Well, that's what I thought too. I said, why didn't he just knock on the door once she was in there? What are they waiting for?
Right.
And then,
I thought they were going to do the move where they were about to knock and she like
opened up.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But again, it was just... so Susie puts the brakes, tells Rick it'd be dishonest of her. Why did she come all the way to his room if she was just going to say,
she's a 22-year-old girl.
Flesh is weak. The flesh is weak.
Exactly.
It's fucking, pardon me.
You know, Rick is such a catch.
Rick. That's what he is. Little cult leader Rick trying to...
Little cult leader Rick.
Yeah, Susie trying to lead her astray. As she's exiting the cabin, she's confronted by Waldo. Tells her she's been caught red-handed of conduct unbecoming of the Pacific Princess Cruise Line.
Which, by the way, no, it's not.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No,
look around, Waldo.
Yeah. Keep in mind, this is the same ship where we had crew members like sneak a monkey on. We had guard dogs loose. So I mean, it's pretty loosey goosey on the
Waldo
standards
doesn't know
of
that.
contact.
This is his first time.
He doesn't know. He's from the office of home. Yeah.
Doc slept with both sets of a twin.
There's no.
Yeah.
And then the shipwrecks come to my room at 10 o'clock at night. There's some shady stuff going on.
Yeah. Hey, check our Instagram for all the foibles that the Princess line has gone through.
For history.
Yeah.
Susie reacts by bursting into tears and racing down the hall. And then I had a thought. Well, are they just gonna throw her off the boat? Like just
Well, I
like just
imagine
to get her off.
she goes to Rick's room.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I figured.
Right, but I think that's what happens.
That's what she did. She started staying there.
Yeah, they're not going to throw her off the boat. They would throw her out of the room, and then she would just stay with Rick.
I see. So
Yeah.
Gotcha. John escorts Robin to her cabin and they're holding hands. I'm like, oh my God, again. They just met. Gives her a good night smooch. Ask her if she'll see her in the morning.
There's
she
no
goes,
way Dick Van Patten is not flipping Mama's wig that night. There's no way they're waiting until the morning.
He's going right back to that Starlight bar. And he was like, he's going to go talk to another girl. Yeah. You know, he's going to find like a Native American girl. And he was like, yeah, it's a shame, girl, because I was trying to do this Native American legislation that really would have improved but not now. You won't see it. You know,
really would have improved the reserves.
Oh,
he's just using that thing
Poor
for everybody on the ship.
Congressman Wickham.
And the walk
Poor
back
guy.
to the room is what made me realize that was still all the first day.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So she
Only
goes
a 3-day
in.
cruise, man. Wickham doesn't have time for this nonsense.
Yeah, it's
No
3 days,
time.
2 nights. That's usually what it is.
It's like,
He's got
let's
no
go,
time
Vicky.
for this. She takes a phone call from Frank, who harasses her about why she hasn't submitted her article. She lets it slip that he told her he's considering resigning, but she asked him not to print that juicy tidbit. And I wrote, I'm sure that will work out fine.
Yeah. You know what gets people to print juicy tidbits? Asking them
Saying
to print juicy tidbits. Yeah.
So the soap opera watcher in me thought that the congressman was going to be listening at the door. And this is going to blow up her spot.
I wish that. I like that idea.
Always listening at the door.
Yeah.
I like that. That's
or like she didn't shut it completely or something.
Yeah, like something like that. Like she was just talking to.
Or somehow somebody's on the phone. He's making a phone call the same time as her. Like somehow he's patched into what.
Hearing what she's saying. That's a good one. Though.
I mean, it's better than the way they landed on it. At the very least, he should have been reading his complimentary copy of Scuttlebutt by the pool.
That's a good part too when she comes clean on the second date.
I'm surprised the ship carries Scuttlebutt. Like out of all the major papers, he's like, "Well, we have the Post, we have the Times, we have."
This ship carried
Scuttlebutt
10 copies of a porno mag.
That's true.
Oh, that was a previous episode.
Yeah.
Hitting.
So we've Mike and I spent some time talking about the interesting outfits of our friend Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, this one is something special. I want to say this. So the scene starts, you can see Stephanie sitting by the pool area. You don't even see Isaac yet. I played it back a few times. You can hear him before you can see him. You can hear the movement of the leather. It's a quick before you see him.
You can see the sheen too on the jacket, like on the sleeves. Yeah,
head to toe brown leather. This is the second all leather outfit we've seen from Isaac this season so far, and you could walk. He walks over and sits.
They don't
like don't get too close.
Let him out of the. They don't let him out of the uniform very much, but when they do, it is a treat.
It is. He's making a statement. I'd love to hear him H-boning in that outfit. It would just be lots of it would just be leather sounds. It'd be terrible. Boy, she expresses Stephanie expresses her deep sadness about the horrific manner in which their shackled ancestors were brought to America. And Isaac replies, yeah, that's heavy. She's all again, he's just looking past all this stuff. You know what he's doing. Look what I bet you he smells great. If he looks like that, you know he smells great.
He had his eyes on the prize.
Oh
yeah. But he's striking out till he pops that apple out. he's not doing well.
Who would have thought a piece of fruit would change the entire course of this?
Apple a day.
Yeah.
Oh, Stephanie rolls her eyes. I'm trying to get you serious about our people, not me. And Isaac attempts to lighten the mood by handing her an apple, which somehow makes Stephanie laugh. And he leans in for a smooch. Man, people are... I don't know how you're not. People are not hesitant about just leaning in for some face smooches, man.
This is pre Me Too.
I'd be afraid to do this more than the congressman. I'd be afraid to do it if I was Isaac, because man, you're right and roll in that pool. You could get dunked real easy
Also,
on there.
That outfit's gonna be ruined.
This goes left.
Yeah. But right when he's going in, a singing Virgil appears as he leads a line dance of the crew.
My guy.
And passengers, it snakes its way around the pool. She rolls her eyes, thanks Isaac for the apple, and storms off. She is just
cock blocked by the Camptown races.
Large glasses of haterade are being consumed by Stephanie at this point because she just can't stand that guy, man. Like, why come on a cruise? Oh, who would want to, if this isn't the dissertation cruise? Like, you didn't come on the cruise and it's all shh. Everybody's doing book work. Like, what do you?
Well, no. According to you can control the atmosphere on the boat better than a library.
That's true.
What I mean by controlling the atmosphere, I mean
you can stay in your
the
room.
people
I guess
that's on there are the only people that's going to be there.
Yeah, but if you get stuck with a guy who's the life of the party, you're screwed.
I can see that.
Yeah, I could.
Conversation is not getting done.
Well, that's one of the things that was not quite accurate from cruise ships. The fraternizing between the guests and the workers.
It's forbidden, right?
Unless they're part of the entertainment crew. But like everybody on the boat can't fraternize with the guests. It's only like the entertainment crew that can fraternize.
Well, that makes sense because you would know the boat needs to run properly. So that
right, like keep it in your pants.
And they have their own party. They have their own party downstairs, like on the crew and all that type of stuff.
Wow. So Jeanette summons Waldo. She said there's an emergency. This is such a weird. He merges. He tells him that. She tells him that she can't seem to zip up the back of her dress. Waldo's got this crazy look on his face, and he says, maybe you should have asked one of the other girls. But she says, I suddenly have an itch on my back. Can you scratch it?
Right in the middle.
And Waldo loses his mind.
Well, did you see what she did to him?
Yeah, well, yeah, poor Waldo. But he just was like,
"This is entrapment."
Well, he moans. You're making me crazy. He's like, he's moaning. You're making me crazy, and she punches him in the face. Well, that escalated quickly. And then I'm thinking, like, was this Plan A? Yes, was this not Plan B? This is the first. This is primary plan.
Hey, it worked.
It did work.
We saw that. We saw that jewel heist last week. They had 4 plans and they all sucked.
They all did suck.
Jeanette got everything out of this one. That's a great plan.
It was for her to compromise Waldo so he can put Susie back in the competition.
That's true. It is true.
And she ends up getting. I do wonder if she blackmailed Waldo into marrying him, but so that's a different conversation.
Next scene,
history. I think Jeanette and Waldo had a prior history.
Oh,
I think she knew she can get away with that.
Or he stalked her and she knew about it or something weird. Like it was a weird, like she had the upper hand big time. Yeah, it was weird.
Women always do.
Right. Isaac tells Stephanie that the Virginia book is great. She smiles approvingly. Just then, here comes the crew. And they're talking to Isaac about what a great time they had dancing with Virgil last night. And Isaac, because trying to get with Stephanie.
All shade.
I have more important things to do with my life than dance. Lest we not forget who's the number 2 H boner.
Well, so this got
one.
This got the first. Oh, like sound effect when he tells them that, like, just like they played that up, like, man, what a sick burn by Isaac that he's,
it was just like, that's
and he's mad because he got blue balled by the Camptown races, right? I mean, really, at the end of the day,
another episode.
No, this,
He's mad. Fool. He's doing this thing, and then like,
he's mad
my
because
friends are here again.
He pulled that apple move. That was his A+ move. Now he wasted that whole apple for nothing.
You should pull out another apple.
Just
Remember that
just
one
grabs an
time
apple,
I
like
brought
Johnny
another
Appleseed.
apple. Poor guy. He's just so dramatic. Susie's weeping about being disqualified. Rick couldn't be happier. Rick is like, no,
Oh, like a
dry
big
those
slob.
tears. We're getting married tomorrow. I'm
Why
gonna,
don't you take a lap nap?
that guy. Rick is
So-
trying to convince her it's a good thing. What's up?
Right. So it's like Rick is probably cheaping out on this wedding now. He's going to have the wedding in Mexico. He's going to have the ceremony on the boat. He's
Right.
not going to have this $5,000.
Or the
His wife-
honeymoon on the boat for one
His
day.
wife will be home all the time now.
Yeah, that's what he wants.
Mhm.
Awful.
Yeah, it's not
Awful.
yeah, it says he can get off the ship, the next port, get married, and then honeymoon for the remainder of the cruise. It's a 3-day cruise. We're on day
17
2. So you're gonna have what? 20.
Well, you got to remember they lost out on $5,000. So
They did lose out on
cheaping it
$5,000.
out.
You can go,
Well,
you can go to the Starlight Bar and just, step over the
Mhm.
congressman's conquests.
Old low ceiling Susie's super happy about this. Just as Jeanette bursts in. Oh, Susie's ridiculous. Bursts in to inform Susie that she was back into the pageant. And Rick is just freaking staring into space like
Oh, Rick.
like things
Rick,
could take a dangerous turn. Like, whoa, you know?
Rick did not count on Jeanette's brains. So,
Yeah. At that point, I fear for Susie's life.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. These two should not be getting married. This is someone should have stepped in front of it.
I have this note, but I don't. It says Weird Isaac scene next.
So this is where he comes over and he pours
Oh, at the bar.
Stephanie a drink.
The drink
has
that he never told her what it was.
Never says what it was. Never indicates what it was. Just
Completely out of
dumps-
context.
yeah, it
Because
really
she
was.
just left, and like you just know what. Very
Yeah.
weird. It was weird. It was like one of those fillers, like they but it was very strange. Robin tells John, the congressman, she's falling in love with him because she met him yesterday.
Mm-hmm. You ever
And he
heard of
feels-
love at first sight?
No,
Every week.
no,
Every week on this show.
every week from 9 to 10 Eastern. He feels the same way. Of course he does. But warns if they're to get together, she's putting herself in the quote unquote firing line. A few seconds later, Gopher enters the room with the stack of papers.
Still don't know where she got these.
Robin
papers.
decides it's a good time as Annie to confess. Yeah, what did they do? Where did they fall from? I mean, I get
The
'cause it's like,
newspapers,
oh,
they probably get.
what did they get him in Mexico at the stop?
that
maybe
was
they,
put up yesterday.
Maybe they
Scuttlebutt.
shoot him out of a cannon.
One of those bank tubes goes underwater, and you just
Yeah.
end up.
Why were they so big?
What's that?
The newspapers.
The newspapers, because they're
huge.
they're the
Huge.
broadsheets. That's like the Inquirer. So
Those newspapers are huge.
you can't contain Scuttlebutt.
No, it's too much. Scuttlebutt's a giant. There's a lot of print, a lot big,
Impossible to
big
read on a
font,
bus.
too. Yeah. 58 font on that thing. Just one article. It's just really long.
58
They're
italics.
fake newspapers they give you when it's your birthday or something. Like, it's-
Yeah, like
Y'all
put
just-
one on that day, and you're like,
Like that we said at like Six Flags that you could be on the cover of like People's Sexiest Man Alive, and you just put your head through a hole.
Did you see the headline of Scuttlebutt?
What was the headline?
Wickham quits, dancer splits. Great job, Frank.
It's a very New York Post.
Way to write that
Oh,
down.
Frank
Frank.
that's
nailed it.
great.
Frank nailed it.
So Robin decides it's a good time. Oh yeah, now confess as you know something might.
As
She's
newspapers are coming.
As the newspapers are coming. Oh, by the way, Robin decides it's a good time as any to confess, and she's reported at work for a rag named Scuttlebutt. Ask over to hand her today's copy. Oh, Whitcomb quits, dancer splits. And note that the accompanying article cites a secret source aboard the Pacific Princess. Wait a minute. That's it. That's not a very secret source. If you're like, the source
just
lives
outed
at blah blah blah.
Outed them.
Well, I didn't say his name or her name. Well, no.
So you know what that reminded me of? The news reports, right? Like if something happens, a crime happens, somebody shooting or something, and they interviewing somebody, they're like, this person does not want to be seen on camera.
Mhm.
And then at the end of the interview, they say where they work at. we interviewed this person at their job at Dunkin' Donuts on Ceylon Avenue. We're like, wait, what?
It's so.
You can put it together.
Yeah, exactly. You
What?
want to be on camera, but you're gonna tell them where I work at.
So Congressman correctly assumes that Robin's the source after she.
That's
how he
wrote that tax bill.
20 people in this episode.
It's ridiculous. And Julie enters the room to inform Robin that she has an incoming call from someone named Frank. Like, oh boy, okay.
Tell Frank I quit.
Uh,
Why did you call
right?
it?
It's
I'll
so.
tell him myself.
Virgil walks up to the bar where Isaac and Stephanie are sitting, invites him to his cabin for an impromptu party he's throwing later. And then I was like, in his cabin, how big is his cabin? Like, what? That was my first, like, what? Stephanie declines, as does Isaac, when Virgil says, okay, boss. Isaac snaps, I'm not your boss. Like, relax, Isaac. What's wrong with you? You're being a dick.
So I missed that part. Not that part, but when he invited him to the party. Because at the end, when they say, well, where's this party at? I'm like, well, when did they say they was having a party? So I must have, like, that little part right there. When
Yeah,
he
they
invited
shoved
them,
it.
Like,
They did. It was
They
quick.
shoved it in
that
real
part.
quick.
I missed
Yeah.
that part.
It was, yeah. Steubing hears this. Uh-oh. Civil rights advocate Meryl Steubing
Now,
grabs
here's the
Isaac by
thing.
the arm.
If Steubing originally was like, okay, I got to talk to Isaac because you can't be crappy to the passengers,
Mhm.
then I understand. But like, there's no way he knows everything that's going on when he's been obsessed with this, beauty pageant. Plus, in theory, he's driving the boat. Like, he should have other things going on.
His
You know,
plate
she's
should
mad
be
at
full.
Julie, his boss.
Right.
Well,
so-
just like airplanes, these boats drive themselves.
It's just
And the captain knows his crew.
the captain knows his crew. So
This
Steubing, it'll change next week.
Yeah.
Steubing grabs Isaac by the arm and asks if he can have a word with him. But when Waldo appears, Captain's like, never mind, start here. Like, great. Julie pulls Isaac aside and he says, I've seen about all the shuffling I can handle. Again, he was ham boner number 2. Let's not forget this. Like, he's the one that perpetuated this specific situation. Steubing hosts the talent portion. Contestants deliver a series of just silly performances, except for Susie.
I wrote down a note that the captain started freestyling at this moment.
Oh,
He
yeah.
did. It was bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And those jokes
It
were
was
getting worse
bad.
and worse.
I love
can I highlight?
Of course.
Can I highlight the one talent in the show that I thought was an odd choice considering the overall storylines of
What's
this
that?
episode? Was Jeanette doing some sort of spoken word Indian thing? So almost like some weird misappropriation of a race that
It's
we
weird.
that half of the episode is about. Like, that was a weird choice. You did not have to do that. You could have given her anything. She could have balanced a ball on her nose. Like, it didn't matter.
Like
you did not need to
seal?
do that. Yeah. Yes.
It's funny.
That was ridiculous. That was you can't. This is what I meant about it. From this point on, all the subtlety and nuance that they had in this episode
kind of went away.
Just
kind of went away.
Yeah.
And this is the first thing, because you kind of just lose all your higher ground when you're
you
just
can't go back.
when you're just bashing on Native Americans.
Yeah,
basically. So,
Once the toothpaste is out of the tube, you can't really
Can't put it back in.
No. Yeah, it's funny with that because then I was like, why isn't Steubing giving her a talking to?
Yeah.
I'm talking about civil rights advocate Meryl Steubing. Like, where are you at now, buddy?
Noted civil rights activist.
Where are you, dude?
He was telling jokes.
Jeez. And Rick, it looks alarmed. If you thought Rick looked uncomfortable before, just the sheer, opportunity.
Told you I fear for Susie's life.
And then she is named the new ambassadress. Susie runs over to the mic to receive the tiara to deliver her acceptance speech, but notice that Rick is walking towards the exit. Way to
Like
support
a
your woman, Rick.
baby, like a baby
Like a
throwing
baby.
a temper
How-
tantrum.
Where you're on a boat. Where are you going? Like, where are you gonna go?
What if he just
like-
jumped right off the boat?
Or he just would walk off the boat like a psycho, like not even just walk.
Right. Wouldn't even
This-
scream. Yeah.
Wouldn't even scream. But like, it's terrible. So she in her big moment. It's not even her big moment because Rick's gonna act like a baby.
Yep.
She says that clinging on to her insecure fiance. Oh, I'm sorry. Keeping her fiance is much more important to her than winning this contest. She takes off
It's
the
not.
tiara.
It's not, Marcia. It's not.
It's not.
The
Rick
first
is
runner-up.
a huge disappointment. Okay.
See, this is what I was talking about earlier, in that they did a really good job of making her previous character and this character completely different, because in the previous episode, she basically grabs a virgin and takes care of him
Yeah. Yeah.
at the end. And it is
Allegedly.
like the complete opposite. You went from somebody who is so independent, and then to this nonsense,
Just like
which
clipped
is
her
just
wings.
awful.
Like,
Yeah.
it is just weird.
Well, he probably had to make her a totally different character than he's the same person, same actress.
No, I
Maybe
get
it-
it. I get. I no, and I
maybe,
respect
yeah.
that. I guess my problem is, why, as a viewer, am I rooting for Rick?
I don't
Like,
think you're
he gave me
supposed to. I don't think you're supposed to.
So you assume they're just they're going to be in a bad marriage, and to your point, she's now trapped for life.
Mhm.
So,
Well, I think
here's
that
the-
you're not supposed to root for Rick until the end.
but why am I rooting for Rick at the end? I don't.
See, I feel like Rick is sort of the bad guy here.
Yeah,
In
the
the
whole
in the
time.
sense that like he's the thing that won't let her get the thing. She's obviously worked to get this.
Yes.
Not only he can't even act happy for a second, he's got to make it
Stay
known
off
and
the
turn
boat.
around. Get off
Stay
the boat.
off the.
He shouldn't have been
boat.
there in the first place.
The crime was committed before he even walked on that boat, when he purchased that ticket.
Like, relax, Rick. Everything's gonna be fine.
Well, without Rick, we don't get the storyline of the contestants. We don't find out that Rita's
Get that logic out of here. Get
TC.
that logic out of
We
here.
didn't need it. Yeah, I
We
think
didn't
the
need it.
pageant would have gone on without a hitch, without
She would've
stupid
won.
Rick on the boat.
Without Rick, then how did Jeanette win? We knew that Susie was more talented than her.
Wow.
Well,
I tell you, I
Jeanette
gotta be
would've won.
honest. If it's not Rita winning, I'm done.
Well, we knew
Yeah.
Rita
She's the
was.
real winner.
We knew she wasn't going to win.
No, it's unfortunate.
She was way too confident in herself the whole time.
Well, you would think that she was trying to gain favor with Waldo in an attempt to sort of win the pageant.
She was, but she didn't know,
You know
that
what I
Jeanette
mean?
had him under her
It
thumb
didn't
already.
work because Jeanette basically was naked. That's probably goes back to that. Steubing announced the first runner-up will be crowned and declares Jeanette the winner. Wah, wah. Okay.
And the crowd goes wild.
Crowd goes wild.
They really did. There was like
did. It
screaming.
was like,
Like,
look,
Yeah,
I've never seen people cheer so hard for people that they
don't
Met.
know.
they don't even know when they first saw them a day
found
ago.
out existed 2
Yeah,
days
it's
ago.
They
weird.
just saw them doing some competition while they were swimming.
Then
And
everyone's like,
probably will never see again in their lives.
No, you're never gonna see them.
Unless they got back on the boat because she's this ambassadress.
That's
in that
true.
year.
Or they'll see these national commercials.
Yeah,
"Mm,
for Kellogg's.
yeah, it's just $5,000. Congressman apologizes to Hot Robin for walking out on her earlier, which doesn't make any sense. Hot Robin says she quit her job at Scuttlebutt because of what
No,
happened.
he came back because he heard that she quit her job.
Right. But he doesn't want her to quit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he doesn't
John
want her to
says, "I'd
quit
rather
now 'cause
keep
he
your
needs
job
somebody. He tells
on
her
the
that he's going to
inside."
stay. He needs somebody on the inside.
You notice though he didn't give her a kiss. He gave her a hug.
Yeah.
It's over, Hot Robin. I'm never talking to you again. Here's a hug because the whole
walk
demeanor has
together.
changed. You know, she sort of just completely betrayed him. For what?
True.
So he got to hang out with someone with a good friend of his, Erica.
He's just going to leave her for the next stripper anyway.
Oh, you have the same haircut as my friend Bill. Like it's just not. It's just awful.
Poor Vicky Lawrence. Good Lord.
I love Vicki Lawrence. I love Mama's Family. I was a big Carol Burnett fan, but like this is just not. when I think of Vicki Lawrence, I think of like her timing and the funny,
Oh yeah.
comedy, but I don't think of her as some like, what's that?
I did watch Mama's Family.
Yeah, it was always on.
I remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Here we go. Meryl Stubing, civil rights advocate. Stubing asks Isaac about the Black history literature he's been reading. And he includes Stephanie when he says the very strange phrase, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing, which is funny because I used to hear that in Alabama a lot. So like growing up.
So at this point, I'm like, where is this about to go?
That's what I'm saying. Is he about to get racist?
To start off with that, I'm like, is he about to go this way or this way?
He's about to pull him.
What a twist that would have been. Oh my God.
Right?
Like, where's this going at?
This is my last cruise.
Jeez. Good Lord. He says they're telling him they're both missing out on a living version of Black history. He describes the accomplishments of Scattergun, Virgil Gibson. He says it's trailblazers. It made it possible for other African Americans to go on to play baseball in the major league. In which Isaac reacts by saying, "End to 10 bar on ships." And Stephanie says, "And teaching in colleges." Isaac asked where Virgil's cabin party is being held, and Stubing says, "Follow me." Like in a
So did y'all know that he portrayed a character of a real Black pitcher?
Who was it? Did he play Satchel Paige?
Satchel Paige? I assumed it was Satchel Paige. Yeah.
I think no, it wasn't Satchel Paige. It was somebody by last name. He had a last name was Gibson also.
Josh Gibson?
Ben Gibson, I think it was. I read it last night. I should check it. But yeah, look it up, Mike.
I would check that out.
They were doing a lot of like all the baseball stories, because you know how I am with that. I always get pissed if it's like that. All the baseball stories totally made sense. Like barnstorming and the Babe Ruth walking to the mound and shaking hands, like that stuff did happen. Like that was all. Like I said, nice job. It was a bit of a twist. I got problems with the before and after of it, but they did a good job with that.
I thought so. So I guess Stubing, Isaac, and Stephanie arrive at the party. Virgil's talking about again how he struck out Babe Ruth during an exhibition game at Yankee Stadium. Isaac apologizes for being rude. Stephanie said she's been studying Black history for years, but has never learned to H-bone.
So that's the drop, right?
That was a bridge too far for me.
But that's the thing. Like everything she said up until that point is like, okay, so there is clearly a gap in my research. It is ... the Negro Leagues and its impact on America's acceptance of the Black in, or whatever. There's a million ways you could have gone. Not that. Not
teach me the handball.
No, or she could have been like, tell me more about
thing in the whole episode. Yeah. That was awful.
She could have been like, tell me more about, your time in anything.
Well, so at this point, what they're trying to do with her character is bring her back down to reality. Or to be with everybody else, because if she would have did that in that moment, it would have been like she wasn't reading the room. Like you got to read the room sometimes. So what she was doing was she read the room and said, "Okay, this is what they're doing. I'll join in on this." That's
I get it. I don't have to like it.
Yeah, going the other way is not reading the room at the moment.
I just felt like it was a little inconsistent for the way they made her character this.
But it was.
I see what you're saying though.
The episode.
Yeah. Jeanette bids Susie and Rick adieu. He says they're very excited about her ambassadoress gig with all the travel. Adds that she plans on marrying Waldo, right? She's gonna marry Waldo. What? Rick and Susie are confused. She explains that he gives one heck of a back scratch. I guess that's a good basis.
That's what I said.
Good luck.
It made sense that she went there with him because I think that was something that happened previously.
Yeah.
Like she knew what she can get away with.
She knew what she could get. She knew she was going to win this thing one way or another.
Yeah. Now, does Waldo have to resign his job as head of office? Probably, right?
She doesn't work for the office.
but
So
he
it's
does.
not. It's not insubordination.
Oh,
Yeah,
they'd
but
get
he
a different
can't-
chaperone, probably. I would
He
have.
can't be the chaperone for the next contest if you're
Not if you're
hooking up
scratching
with one
backs
of
like
them.
that.
Yeah,
Like
Well,
some
she's
sort
not
of.
going to be the next contest. She already has a gig for her.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a safe work environment. If you have basically married one of the
trust
people and got blackmailed because you assaulted her and got knocked out.
Yeah.
That's funny. That is funny.
Contest is a mess.
It is a mess. As the pageant contestants are getting off the boat, Waldo thanks Stubing for being such a great MC. Yeah, right. Stephanie offers Virgil a ride home. Why does every storyline with Isaac end up with somebody offering somebody a
at home?
every time? It's like,
Because
let me give
Oakland
you a
is
ride
not
home.
near Los Angeles.
No. That's a huge what? So
Where's
Stephanie,
Charlene? Where is Charlene?
that's some
Your
DL right there.
girlfriend.
That's
On
DL.
a break.
And Roxy Blue has a show in town.
Episode 5, he hooks up with Roxy Blue. Episode 14, he has a longtime girlfriend.
That's
Episode 16, he's hooking up with this chick.
It's crazy.
No, Isaac, no.
The life of a bartender on a cruise ship.
But then always be like that. Don't have
Right.
a longtime girlfriend.
It's
That's
just
not fair
dumb.
to Charlene. She won't be coming back
I'm
with
away
any
a
more
lot.
episodes.
I'm at work.
Captain assures her, so Isaac plants a big smooch, tells her how much he digs her. When this happens, Stephanie blushes. Captain assures her that PDA is perfectly okay. Hey, Captain, why don't you mind your own beeswax? Why don't you stop staring at what I'm doing, dude? You already lectured me on civil rights, and now you're like, it's okay, Stephanie. You can let him kiss you. Like, get out of here, dude. You're so creepy, man. And then he goes on to say, hey, they're all one big happy family, which is sort of a weird thing. And Isaac grins. Isaac says, Dad, can I use the ship tonight? And everyone,
This ending was just
Man,
bonkers.
it's terrible.
What was going on with that?
Where's Art
ending?
Bear? This is a terrible ending. They just said screw it at the end. They were like, whatever.
And it wasn't even 50 minutes, the episode. So they were like
No, it
crawling to the finish line.
Yeah. Long
49.
commercials this episode. And that is episode 16.
All right. Totals and a recap. King of the Mountain, definitely not the best episode we've ever seen.
No.
They, like I said, they had important subjects. They did a decent job at points of trying to deal with it, but much like the Sandy Duncan runaway episode and probably some other topics, the Love Boat is not really equipped to handle a really strong, important topic. And
they did the best they could.
Exactly. I was just gonna say they did the best they could. They got out of there with minimal damage. The Native American thing was probably the worst thing they did.
That was bad.
Yeah, they
but definitely not. Yeah, definitely not the best episode, right, Mike? I mean, that's not.
No, not even in the same atmosphere as the best episode. No way.
The Captain of the Week. So this is the best performance or storyline or whatever. I mean, what would be your Captain of the Week?
Virgil.
Yeah,
easy.
Yeah, I gotta say the fact that I now realize you're him is that
charisma.
I saw myself in him.
It's plain and simple. It's charisma. That's all. You know what I mean? It's the ability to engage others.
Worker room. All that. Mm-hmm.
Well, and we've only had a few of these, but we have had a few lately where like the acting performance is just so like dominates the show, right? It's just like in a good way. Like it's just like this guy. It was Bob Crane a couple weeks ago when Diane Carroll was on. There's just like this level of stardom or level of acting where you just are like, oh, I'm the star of the Love Boat this week.
Yeah, every scene he was in, it was like it was him. Like he was the scene.
Yeah, I agree. He was consistent too.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, that's your vote as well?
No. My vote goes for the brown leather suit that Isaac wore as my Captain of the Week. Not only for the sounds that the outfit made, but also the courage to sit that close to water in such a beautiful all leather outfit. Captain of the Week.
I'm going with Stephanie. Up until the very end, I thought she held her ground for a while and really tried to fight off the creeps on this boat as well as she could. And also, like I said, Jeanette. I thought Priscilla Barnes played a good bimbo
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so kudos to her for that.
I
Jeanette
agree.
was my number 2.
Walk the plank. Worst of the week, Mike.
Rick, get off the boat immediately, Rick. You're
Yeah,
a
I think.
terrible
Yeah,
person.
but we're gonna go 3 for 3 on Rick.
Yeah,
My
Rick-
only note is Rick is the worst. So
Rick is the worst.
My note was Rick is a nut.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
Rick is
I w-
needy. I have a lot of notes on Rick.
we're coming up on at the end of the year. We'll have the stubbies for the awards, and I got to think Rick is going to get himself a nomination for worst villain. I mean, he's pure
don't know.
evil.
Oh, he's a lock for the nomination. And
Yeah.
We'll see if he wins.
We'll
but
see
yeah,
if he wins.
just
Yeah, no redeeming qualities.
no, zero. Absolutely zero.
All right, that's totals and a recap for this week.
So plugs. Find us on Instagram. Love Boat Project on Instagram. Come check us out. Join our Facebook group, the Love Boat Project. And also email us. Email us at theloveboatproject@gmail.com. That's all I
still
have.
have a yahoo.com.
What's that?
I still have a Yahoo email.
I noticed that. You were one of the. I remember way back in the day. I had the Yahoo. It's been years. You still sticking with the Yahoo?
Yeah,
That's where all your stuff is.
Yeah,
I
it's
have,
true.
I have a Gmail, but
Yeah.
my Gmail is like nicknames, like the KI double or be balling. My business one, like that I do for like my resumes
Right.
and all that, is still the that Brewster one. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I
want
have
to send a
some-
resume from balling at gmail.com.
Fair. That's fair.
I had a fish email address. It was like big _eyed fish. Like it was very fishy. And it would be embarrassing. Like, what's your email address? And I'd be like, oh God, I don't want to give you my email address. Yeah,
That's
I
why
keep it pretty simple.
I just went with the original.
But just know, yeah, email us loveboatproject@gmail.com. We have not received an email yet, Mike, but I check every day. Update, no new email. Okay.
Well, I think ever since I told you, we're not like just letting people ask to be on the show, which I think
that's
one time.
bad.
That was
It was
definitely
bad.
like, sorry. I think
We
we've seen
would've-
tonight the level of guests that we
Yeah.
have. Like, good luck, emailer.
And let me just say, absolutely. And let me say this. Thank you very much for being on the show. You were a great guest. And I really appreciate it. I thought you had great insight. And season 2.
And much like Marsha Brady, you will be back, but not this season. Because again,
not this season.
I'll play a different character.
You have different hair at the very least, or something like that. So.
Nice. All right. Well, until episode 17, we have been the Love Boat Project. We'll see you next time.
All right, fellas.